So, this very next section is going to explain how Daniel actually ended up in the service of king, even though he was a Jew and he had been put into exile into Babylon. So, let's have a read of Daniel chapter 1, verse 3. Then the king instructed Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, to bring some of the children of Israel and some of the king's descendants and some of the nobles, young men in whom there was no blemish, but good looking, gifted in all wisdom, possessing knowledge, and quick to understand, who had the ability to serve in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the language and literature of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed for them a daily provision of the king's delicacy and of the wine which he drank, and 3 years of training for them, so that at the end of that time they might serve before the king. Couple of verses, but so rich in context. And the context of these verses is going to make the rest of the book make sense. They had 3 years of training in the literature of the Chaldeans. They had 3 years of training in learning other languages so that they could serve before the king. So this is why, one of the reasons why Daniel was able to write this book in different languages. He got trained. And did you also notice back in verse 3 that the men that were chosen, they were young men. They were also men of the king's descendant. So they were descendants of the king of Judah. And then you had noble people from Judah. You had young men who there was no fault found in them. They had no blemish. So they were young, they were healthy, they were good looking, and they were intelligent. They were gifted in being able to learn things quickly. So this was the criteria that was needed to be met. And they went, okay, well, all these people that were taken captive, we're going to take these, the cream of the crop, and they are going to become eunuchs in the service of the king. But also, they were appointed daily provisions from the king's table. So it's not like they were put in a prison or chained up or anything. They were quite literally given the same type of food that the king ate, the same wine that the king drank. So they were given the best of the best. They were given a huge education. They were trained up. And this is where the book of Daniel starts. So based on this description, we know that Daniel met all these criteria. We know that he was an intelligent man, that he was able to pick up information quite quickly, that he was able to stand before the king and give instruction to the king, because that's what he was trained to do. And I really emphasize that because I think that's important for where we go for the rest of the book, because it is the fact that they were gifted men that were taken, and it wasn't like a captive, they were taken out of the land of Judah and they were put in Babylon to serve. And from that, I think that one of the lessons that we can learn from Daniel is to serve where God places us. Serve where we are. Whatever work is before us, do it and do it well.